I want to bring in CNN political commentator Kayleigh McEnany, contributor at The Hill. Also, Daily Beast columnist Sally Cohn, political analyst Kirsten Powers, a columnist at USA Today, and political commentator Angela Rye. Why were you shaking your head when he talked about the amount of money and all that?
Well, I mean, kudos to O'Reilly for the ratings. It's just sort of sad that I think Dylan's point is exactly correct. If he were a lesser success, or frankly not a television star, anyone else where these kinds of allegations were made public so repeatedly, we can hope he'd be out. Then again, honestly, I don't know. The truth is, this happens all the time, and the men survive their jobs. And we don't need more proof of that than the fact that these are just allegations that were settled. We're about when a man who boasted, not about sexual harassment, but sexual assault, gets elected by half the country. Yeah. To be president, to be promoted, what do I tell my daughter then? That this isn't okay, but you still get to be a TV star and you still get to be president.
That's the point.
That's a problem.
Here's what you tell your daughter. You tell your daughter we're a country that believes in redemption. And Donald Trump apologized. No, you can scoff, but Donald Trump apologized. And not only that, Ben Carson said, he prayed the night before he went on the debate and had to address this. He prayed and asked God for forgiveness. We can roll our eyes, we can laugh at that, whatever you may. But we're a country that believes in redemption. And Donald Trump, he's not a misogynist. We can demonize him. We can vilify him. He's not that. He asked for forgiveness, and half the country gave it to him.
Kayleigh, listen, I think that, hold on, whoa. We do believe in redemption, and I believe in redemption more than anybody else. But I don't think someone who says those words, I think people around the country would think that they possibly, do they deserve to be the president of the United States?
That's not redemption, that's promotion.
Right, exactly. When you say things like that, there are certain standards and there's a certain bar that one must meet in order to be the leader of the free world.
But did Bill Clinton meet it when he used the Oval Office and actually committed an act there?
Already in the Oval Office, and he faced the music for those. And I'm not condoning what Bill Clinton did.
At all.
What he did was horrible. Okay. And if he had been taken out of office, I think that's what the American people would have decided. So the American people decided that they wanted Donald Trump to be president of the United States. I'm just saying, I think that someone should meet a certain bar before they become president of the United States.
Yeah, the Electoral College did decide that. Thank God for the American people writ large who did not. But I do think that it's important for us to make distinctions. I'm a Christian too. I believe in forgiveness and redemption, but I don't think that when you do something so egregious, you should be promoted for your behavior. I think instead you should be reprimanded, perhaps disciplined, and definitely not given the highest office in the land.
So let's bring this back then to Bill O'Reilly, which is we're talking about. Does someone deserve to be in the position that they're in if there are accusations or if they've possibly committed horrible acts? You've worked at Fox News. You've worked there. So I'm interested in hearing your perspective. I'm interested in hearing your perspective.
That would be interesting. Look, I think you have to remember, we don't really know what happened. He settled, right? So settling is not necessarily admission of guilt. So I can't say whether this happened or it didn't happen. I don't know. I think that it's obviously very problematic when you have this many allegations against one person. And I think that, looking at the advertisers pulling away, they're clearly uncomfortable with it. And I think that we have seen our culture shift somewhat on this issue. The question is, has it shifted as much as maybe
I think the zeitgeist has changed.
You think it has shifted?
I think it's changed. The culture has changed when you look at what happened with Bill Cosby, because the same arguments were made by Bill Cosby. And this show was one of the first shows to start covering the allegations of Bill Cosby to the extent that we did. But I do have to say, when someone says that, we don't know, and we don't know. Sean Hannity works there, gets paid a lot of money. Haven't heard anybody say anything about that. Tucker Carlson works there, makes a lot of money. Haven't heard anybody say anything. Megyn Kelly worked there, made a lot of money. Didn't hear any guys saying, or women or whatever, saying, because we want to be fair. I'm just saying, want to be here. Bill Hemmer works there. Bill Hemmer, I'm sure, makes a lot of money. But do you understand the point?
No, I totally.
Britt Hume works there. He makes a lot of money, and on and on.
Look, I think here's the thing. It's also, the other thing is, it's knowable. I'm just saying, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think that Fox probably does know, right? I mean, I think the people who have had access to the
were recordings, allegedly.
and so I think that they know what happened, and then they have to make a decision about what they want to do. It's hard for me sitting here not having access to the
So
information to say
listen,
what happened.
Kaylee has Kaylee says redemption, right? Is it hypocritical though when you're the family values channel to allow someone who possibly did this to stay on the air and not question it? We'll talk about that when we come back. Bill O'Reilly under fire. Will Fox News keep him on the air? Back now with my panel. This is what you say, Sally. You talk about the hypocrisy here, right? And the conservative media outlet keeping someone like Bill O'Reilly as their star through all of this. Again, he settled. Has not been proven the presumption of innocence. But you say Fox needs to show people that they are serious about changing the culture at their network, and the best way that they can do that is by firing O'Reilly. Why do you say that?
Well, again, look. The truth is what
It's just
Fox does know. It is accusations to the public. The truth is that Fox probably does in fact know the truth, right? So we can assume that there is a truth, and assuming that they paid out $13 million in settlements to multiple accusations, by the way, and including pending. There are additional pending lawsuits assuming that they are in fact true, or frankly even that one of them, they're pretty bad, is valid. They should take action and do something, because let's also be clear. At least according to one study, 1 in 3 women in this country has experienced some form of sexual harassment. And most of those women aren't like me or the folks at this table who have the means, the opportunity to go and get a lawyer and to take this and make this public. They're in restrooms or workrooms at Walmarts and dive restaurants, and they don't have the opportunity to bring this to public the way that these accusers do. Fox needs to do this not only for their network, but frankly, they have a leadership role in the country. It says this isn't okay. And the opposite of that is to give him more power, because sexual harassment is when you have power and use that power to abuse women. At least take his power away. It's pretty simple.
Kaylee, go ahead.
Yeah, sexual harassment, of course, inexcusable. That goes without saying. But there's two sets of rights here. There's the rights of the women to, level these accusations. There's also the right of the defendant. There's also the right of Bill O'Reilly. We don't know what happened. We can sit here and surmise. We can, pontificate. Oh, well, this might have happened. This might have happened. But calling for him to lose his job when we don't even know the details, we haven't seen one single court document. I think that is extreme. You're completely nullifying. You're completely nullifying his rights.
Well, no, listen, first of all, we're not talking about rights. This isn't a court, right? We're talking about what a private company chooses to do. Right. And it is their choice. It is obviously their choice. But just like if he made, by the way, I have to also point out the irony in this, that if this is what takes him down,
Fox,
but if this is what takes him down, after all the incredibly offensive, racial bias and sexism, and he has said things. I actually am far more worried about the things he said, the policies he supported.
He does run an opinion show, though.
So his opinions
I find his opinion. Some of his opinions have been downright offensive.
You're calling for someone to lose their job, and you don't know if he even did what you're accusing him of.
Wait. I'm saying two things. One, I'm saying I think he should have lost his job a long time ago because of some of the things he said and the policies and positions he supported.
Just because he's not a left-wing person doesn't mean he should lose his job.
I'm not actually calling for Tucker Carlson to lose his job. I mean, that's not true. I'm talking about things he said. But the second point is, it is the choice of a business who they're going to get rid of or not. And you know what? The things he said are offensive in our country.
You won't even appear on. You said you're the only one who's had.
Well, now I can't under contractual obligation. But I was called repeatedly to go on Fox, and I wouldn't go on any of the shows.
You think they need to send a message? That's your message, and you think they need to send a message?
I think that they have an opportunity to really rise above like the mess. It's been a messy election. We heard the president's tapes. We know that Roger Ailes had these same issues. We know that there are memoirs about these things happening at Fox. I'm not saying that Bill O'Reilly did it. I do agree with Sally that his character is the real problem here, and they have an opportunity to say that it's time for somebody to pay for this, and it doesn't matter how much advertising or subscription revenue we're getting from a particular show.
I'll give you the last word, Ms. Powell.
Oh, I just disagree with the idea that he should have lost his job over the things that he said. But Sally and I have a little disagreement over this regularly about I'm a free speech nut, which means that I actually think people, no matter how horrible the things that people are saying, they should be able to say them. He has a perspective. I disagree with him. I used to fight with him all the time.
You think he'll survive?
I think it depends on how much the culture has changed. But my gut is probably yes, he will survive, because I think that he makes a lot of money for the network.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Sad.
Joining us in CNN Tonight with Don Lemon, where we do it live every single night.
Oh, you went there.